Africa is battling a political disease that may take centuries to heal. The new constitutions enacted in Africa in 1990s counts to about 48, out of which 33 provided a term limit to the office of the president. Surprisingly, most African countries have contemplated the removal of presidential term limits in their constitution since 1998. In most cases, the incumbent who had served 2 terms, which most constitution states, attempted to change the constitution to make themselves eligible to run for the 3rd term. But whether this is always for personal interest or national interest is a question that we need to ask. In what I may describe as a blow to democracy, heads of state in Africa always extend their terms in office either by force, breaking the constitution, or bending it to fit the term limit they want. Some heads of state like Cameroon's Paul Biya, Uganda's Yoweri Museveni, Rwanda's Paul Kagame, and Teodoro Obiang of Equatorial Guinea are among the sitting presidents in Africa who have succeeded in changing the presidential term limits initially stipulated in their constitution, while some like Frederick Chiluba of Zambia and Malawi's Bakili Muluzi did not succeed. Recently, a lawmaker in Kenya proposed an addition of presidential term limits and other elected leaders to 7 years from 5 years of 2 terms as guided in their current constitution, citing that this would give the president more time to run the government. So, does the duration a leader takes in power describe the level of development he or she delivers to his country? We take a look at some of the longest serving Africa leaders and what the situation is like in their countries.
Para un desarrollo dinámico y transformativo de nuestros estados. Agradecemos igualmente al Gobierno de la India por la hospitalidad y el recibimiento acogedor que nos ha sido reservado a nuestra llegada a esta hermosa ciudad de Nueva Delhi.
Teodoro Obiang of Equatorial Guinea opens the list. Obiang came to power in August 3, 1979 coup. He is the world's 2nd longest serving head of state and the 2nd head of state of Equatorial Guinea after whisking his uncle Francisco Masia Nguema out of power through a military coup. His uncle was the first father of the nation since 1968 after Equatorial Guinea's independence. As at 2024, Obiang has been in power for 45 years. Currently, Obiang is serving his 6th term in office after being re-elected for a 7-year term in office in 2022, with nearly 95% of the votes casted. His party, the Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, holds all the 100 seats in the chambers of deputies and all those in the Senate, with opposition nearly not existing. As much as unity is good, once a government appears to be having no opposition party in Africa, that's where the problem begins. Foreign observers had accused him of dictatorship and intricate series of corruption. According to OCCRP, in one of their articles, they described the government of Equatorial Guinea as a family business. In 2016, the Equatorial Guinea president appointed his son Teodoro Obiang Mango, nicknamed Teodorin, as the first vice president of Equatorial Guinea. Teodorin has been accused of looting the government to finance his lavish lifestyle, while Equatorial Guinea citizens lavish in poverty, according to statements by Assistant Attorney General Leslie R. Cardwell. In 2012, the French authorities issued an arrest warrant for Teodorin and seized several luxury cars and his mansion in Paris in Avenue Foch. According to news reports by El País, Teodorin spent $25 million on the mansion. Several corruption cases, some linking the president with foreign companies, has been reported before by Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project (OCCRP) and different media outlets showing a long chain of corruption in the Equatorial Guinea. Obiang has made several pledges to commit to open governance, reduce corruption, increase transparency, and improve the quality of life and uphold basic freedom of citizens. Critics say that Obiang's government has made very little progress towards this goal. However, several international groups have called for Obiang to increase fiscal transparency and accountability by publishing all government revenues and conducting and publishing annual audits of government accounts, including those abroad, and forcing officials to declare assets. They've also requested him to disclose natural resources revenues, greatly increase spending, alleviation of poverty, uphold political freedom and rights, allow judicial practices to meet international standards, cease harassing and hindering his critics, and allow foreign inspectors and groups to travel freely unhindered and unharassed. In 2008, American journalist Peter Maas called Obiang Africa's worst dictator, worse than Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, while he was researching a book on the country's oil boom in 2004. Economically, Equatorial Guinea is one of the largest oil producers in sub-Saharan Africa, and expected its economy is not doing bad. Equatorial Guinea is ranked the highest in per capita income in Africa. Per capita income simply means the average income earned per person in a specific area over a specific period of time, and is one of the highest in terms of GDP. But here's the irony. According to the World Bank, almost 70% of its citizens live below the poverty line, while President Obiang has a net worth of $600 million, making him almost the richest head of state in the world according to Forbes. Poverty in Equatorial Guinea has been linked to the wealth inequalities. Most of the wealth is concentrated among the ruling family. In 2003, Obiang told his citizenry that he felt compelled to take full control of the national treasury in order to prevent civil servants from being tempted to engage in corrupt practices. Obiang then deposited more than $500 million into more than 60 accounts controlled by himself and his family at Riggs Bank in Washington, D.C., leading a U.S. federal court to fine the bank $16 million for allowing him to do so. According to Transparency International Report 2020, Equatorial Guinea is awarded a score of 16% on the Corruption Perception Index, and they include Guinea on the list of 12 most corrupt states in the world. But what's the bright side of Equatorial Guinea? Obiang has worked to maintain good business relationship with other countries, especially the West. In 2023, Equatorial Guinea's export to Spain were valued at $530.84 million, according to the United Nations Comtrade database on international trade. It's also worth noting that in Equatorial Guinea, education is free and compulsory for children between 6 to 14 years, and that has made her to be one of the countries with the highest literacy rate in sub-Saharan Africa. According to the Central Intelligence Agency World Book, as of 2015, 95.3% of the population aged 15 and over were able to read and write in the country. We can't ignore the infrastructural development in Equatorial Guinea. The construction of a new capital city, Malabo, has given Equatorial Guinea a new look. Thank you for watching Atlas Insider. Kindly like, share and subscribe to this channel. And wait as we dwell to the second longest serving head of state in Africa.